Hello, Tim here. Welcome to Shop Talk with Tim. First off, I want to thank all of you viewers that have subscribed. I have over 3,000 now. And occasionally some of you respond and make comments or ask questions, and I enjoy responding to those if I can. And somebody recently had asked me about my bookcase and the titles. I did a video some time ago on all the titles I have in my bookcase. And some of these books are design books or architecture, history. Some of these books are out of print, and they were interested in new titles that maybe he'd be interested in picking up or researching or finding something new to read. The books I'm going to recommend to you are for inspiration. These are recent titles these are all in print. And for the woodworker in your life, you're thinking of a gift for somebody that you're maybe not into woodworking yourself, but maybe you're interested in it and you know somebody who is and would enjoy a book. So these three books of my collection that I have here are memoirs, biographies. I'm going to start with the most recent one first. This one is called Ingrained by Colum Robinson, and that's him on the backside there. This is published last year, so this is my newest book. And this book starts out with a story of him as a young fella. With his dad was a master carpenter and did wood carving and so forth, and talked about him going into the lumber shed and this takes place in Scotland. So he's into woodworking business. I mean, he's working in Scotland. In his mid-years, his teen years, he lost interest. He's kind of adrift, and it finally kind of came back to him where he decided to start building furniture. What I find interesting about his writing style, and I spent some time in England and learned some of their terminology. So some in their words, they use the term bespoke, and we use the term custom. It means the same, but bespoke means custom furniture. And he'll use some Scottish terms in here, but it's kind of Americanized. So a word like turn screw is, we would use the word screwdriver or torch for flashlight, those kind of things. But it's very readable and very approachable. So he goes through his story of starting a woodworking business with his girlfriend, and then she's got a day job and he's trying to make a shop work on the side. And then they finally go all in. They end up buying a storefront and making this bespoke furniture. It's the making of a craftsman. So he kind of chronicles his journey, and he's still active. And I think there's an online presence of him, but I find this was a real readable and helpful volume, and some insights into the methods that they use. I think, having spent some time in England, I could kind of relate to what he is talking about. So Ingrained, the making of a craftsman. So it's a recent edition. This one's a few years old. It's 2012. And this is enjoyable for a number of reasons. It's not where they're making stuff. It's just the life in the Northwoods lumber camp. They're making saw logs is what they're doing. So this is the front end of the woodworking business, where he grew up in a lumber camp and up in the Upper Peninsula, maybe the Adirondacks or Upper Michigan. And he talks, the guy that tells these stories is Thomas O'Donnell, and this William O'Hearn, I guess. He's the one that edited and compiled all these stories. And one of the different things he talks about, there's pictures in this, which is kind of fun. this other book ingrained. It didn't have pictures, but there's a guy playing a banjo. What they did in their leisure time, getting the logs to the river, cutting them down, hauling them by horse, and kind of doing the log jam clearing. And one of the chapters is quite interesting. It's called Sky Pilot. And a sky pilot is the story of chaplains that would come around to a lumber camp and have religious services. So he talks about that, talks about school, little log schoolhouse. And I found this book really interesting. Now this, I think, went all the way from the 20s, 30s. I'm trying to think when all this took place, about 1950s, I guess. So that this book kind of tells adventures of getting logs down to the sawmill. Life in the Northwoods Lumber Camp. William J. O'Hearn, author and woodsman, but he's compiled the stories of Thomas O'Donnell. This book, The Village Carpenter, by Walter Rose, and this is a first published in 1937, and it's a story or classic narrative of a Victorian master carpenter, and in Victorian England. So these stories, it all takes place in England, Victorian England era, late 19th century. And some of the jobs that he would have, there's some pictures in here too, but like repairing a windmill, making coffins, and sash and doors. Let's see, he's got, it's not so much how to as to what he did. So this was like a gate, like farm community. So you're a local craftsman. You just did whatever, including making furniture. And some of it goes through some of the tools he used. Oh, even some carving that he did for a church, and sash and window sashes. And he's got working on a shaving horse, or what we call a Schnitzelbank in German. He's talking about his grandfather. And one of the reasons I like this book so much is that I have my grandsons in my shop, and I had them grandkids here for a week, and my 4-year-old grandson comes out here, and he just loves to tinker on stuff and learn some things. And one of the things that kind of brought some joy to my heart, I guess, he was watching me sand something, and he picked up sandpaper and said, "I'm watching you, so I know how to do it." So hopefully he'll pick up some things, but you never know what they're going to remember. But this particular grandson of this carpenter, Walter Rose, he's the one who's telling the story, talks about what he remembers of his grandfather. And of course, this was published in 1937. So it's a good treatise, good memoir of a village carpenter. And that's if you're interested in the stories behind the guys that make the stuff rather than just how to make it. This is kind of the stories of the guys that were all part of the process. And the only one that of these three books that actually made things and is still around doing stuff is this guy here. So I recommend all these three books, and particularly the new one, which I've enjoyed reading. So that's from my bookshelf, titles that I recommend. So thanks for watching, and please give it a thumbs up if you would, and please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.